Dun, dun, dun. It is time. Avengers Endgame spoiler review. I am so hyped for this. I got Mjolnir.
Yep.
I don't know if I'm saying it right.
Mjol Mjolnir.
Mjolnir? Mjolnir? Oh man.
Michael Jackson.
Oh man. And
And this is fresh. This is fresh for me because I
Alex just saw it last night. I saw it on opening day or opening night, and I've been holding my tongue. Well, actually, I had a small conversation with a couple of coworkers, and we had to keep that a little bit quiet because everyone else hasn't seen it yet, and yeah, so I've just biting my tongue. I've been wanting to talk about Avengers Endgame for a whole 3 days now, because no one else has seen it yet. This movie, man, can I say this movie?
oof.
First off,
Man, there
I already gave my feelings and stuff like that. Give us your short feelings before we get into all the spoilers. And just real quick, guys,
may
major spoilers coming up. So if you haven't seen the
major.
movie, click off, go watch the movie, come back and watch this after you've seen the movie.
And you know what? Seriously, if you're watching this right now and you're gonna get on us later on saying, I can't believe you spoiled it like that.
We gave you a
Well, you
warning.
are dumb. Yeah, you are dumb. And this is your fault. Because
Yes,
we even have Gabe's non-spoiler review, which you could have watched, but now
exactly.
you're watching this one.
Yeah,
And
this is the spoiler
it's
review.
even in the title, it's gonna say spoiler.
Hmm.
So,
But
mm,
real quick, Alex, your thoughts.
so it was with a I gotta say a rest in peace to Stanley, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Make
Because
love,
I
not war.
have yeah, I that was a weird one. So it was how pe- I'm gonna say it was a fan service 1,000,000%,
In a good way,
but
though.
done in the right way because it's what you would have wanted without a second movie to have ended a 22 movie long. I think it's 22 movie
Yes, 20.
long
Yeah, 10 year,
history
10, 11 years, 22 movies.
in the making, and this was the ending of it. They clipped all ties, they made new questions, but in the part where you don't want to see what happens because you're already satisfied with what happened. But it was crazy. It was confusing. It was nice. It was funny. It was heartwarming.
See,
It was the wait, the word I want to say is it was humanizing. It was
exactly.
yeah.
You know what? That word, I'm gonna be using that word a lot because it rings so true, and I think that's. I have a few people who disagree with me, and I think they're crazy. But I feel like the humanizing part is what's probably making him not like it, but making me like it. You know, I don't know, but yeah, we'll get into that
But then
later.
again, those people who are saying that, they are they probably don't have the history that we have of reading comics, of knowing this ever since we were young, of appreciating the superhero aspect, because in all the comic books you get these people who are supposedly inhuman, who don't have anything on their mind other than keeping everybody safe. But then you realize, man, there are stories where they have families, they have people they have lost, and there's a reason they have the respect for life that they do. And you don't just have that just because you're a superhero. They have to
You gotta be
have
human. You gotta
you got to
humanize
be
them.
human. You
Yeah,
got to have flaws, you got to have worries, you got to have respect, you got to have love. It all makes you who you are. And if they don't show that, you're just this giant superhero with no heart. You're everybody is Superman,
Al-
and
also
that's
the
what kills it.
Also, the part where you say confusing, to me it wasn't really, none of it was confusing. But then I've seen all the 22 movies, and I feel like that might be one of the problems. And I think that that might be one of the things that makes people not love the movie as much as you and I did. Or actually, I'm not sure. Like, okay, from you, score it 10 out of 10 before I even get into this.
8.5 on a high mark
Okay.
because it answered all the questions. It gave me what I wanted. It gave everybody what they wanted. It gave the SJWs what they wanted. It gave the it gave everybody what essentially they have been looking for. But the confusing part I was going to talk about was the whole just the end fighting scene where like just everybody pops up out of everywhere and I'm
Oh,
like
to me, I love that. That was,
I mean, yeah, I loved
ooh,
it. I was just like
it
they kind
it
of
it jumped
jumped
me.
into it
It
right
it
there.
jumped me out of my seat. But because the thing is, I gave this movie a 10 out of 10. Yes, it had flaws, but I could overlook the flaws because of how amazing this was. And this is no one's done this before. There is no company, there's no movie industry that's made 22 movies and tie it all up in one. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
this is it. They did this, and they did it
Excuse me,
almost.
Veggie Tales.
Oh my god. But they did it almost flawlessly, and it's gonna be hard to do something that's like, flawless, because there is some small things in there that you could nitpick and stuff like that. But I feel like you're just nitpicking. But then also, I feel like you kind of have to been on that 22 movie ride to fully appreciate and understand everything and all the characters that are in
Mhm.
there. Because yeah, at that end fighting scene, there is a lot of characters that if you haven't seen all 22 movies, you might be like, who's that person, or who's that, like
Mhm.
what they're doing there, and how did they get those powers.
Man, I can't tell you how many people I've actually seen on Facebook who have kind of pissed me off because they came out of the movie going, "I'm so confused. I don't know what's going on." It comes to find out that they've never even watched any of the earlier movies. They just jumped straight into Endgame. Well, what are
Yeah.
you expecting? Like
But
that's
also though, I've heard from people who's never seen any one of them except for this one, and they still loved it just because of the whole speculation, not speculation, but spectacle. I mean, just because of the whole
mm,
spectacle and how crazy that end fighting scene was, even though they didn't understand or knew each and every character, they were just like, that was still an amazing scene.
mm.
And I'm down to put in history right now that that end fighting scene might be the best comic book fighting scene, best iteration of it I've ever seen. I
Yeah,
mean,
because I actually have this line of comics and just reading all the stuff. It is jam packed with some of the best fighting scenes. The only one I can say is like close to, but I know they're never gonna be able to pull it off like they did, or even come close. Honestly,
exactly.
they're gonna is probably the Galactus fight
Oh,
with
well,
that's
I feel
the
like that's
reason.
where they're gonna have to go, because that was gonna be my second statement right now, was that I don't know how they're gonna top this. I don't know
I don't think they are.
I don't know what they could do or where they could go that can top this. But
Hmm.
but you just brought it up. Galactus.
Hmm.
If they do the Galactus fight, or if they do the whole Galactus story, do the cosmic, because as you could see at the end of the movie, Thor is going to be part of the Guardians. So he's going to be up there. Um, they have to go cosmic. They're going to have to go Galactus. The only way to beat Thanos and this whole Infinity Story saga is to go the Galactus story. And
Hmm.
that's where the X-Men comes in and everything like that. And we'll get into how I think they'll be brought in and stuff like that later. But yes, I mean, amazing. We'll go down the line and be like, just like kind of actually, we might not even go down the line. I'm just gonna say all the stuff that I loved about it, and we'll talk about it.
Hmm.
The opening of the movie, um, I lo- the first hour was the sadness, and I kind of dig that, because like for us to get to this crazy big climax, they have to kind of set us up for it. If you guys go back and watch our trailer review, some of our speculations actually came true. Maybe not in the way that we thought it was, but it was almost there. The suits
Mhm.
was a quantum realm suit, like I said. Time travel, boom, knocked it out of the park.
Yep.
Now, how Tony Stark gets saved, that was surprising to me. I should have known that because I saw Captain Marvel and I saw the end credit scene. I should have known that that's what they were gonna do. But it did surprise me. It was heart touching that they did the Hawkeye scene as the first scene to be shown, because that
Hmm.
shows you how heavy the stakes are in this movie. Because I feel like without that, it wouldn't show you how important everything that's gonna be happening it's gonna be, or how, yeah. So you wouldn't know how important that would be if they didn't show you that first scene with Hawkeye. And then
Yeah, because
go ahead.
uh, the whole Hawkeye scene is you never really had a connection to him and his family. That's why I think they really laid it on thick that
Hmm.
he's a part of the Avengers too, and he has something to lose as well. Maybe they never really talked about it as much, but he's still a big part of the Avengers. But all it has to do is take some loss in your life, which almost all of them have had, to throw them into the loop of wanting to save everybody. But yeah, that whole first scene, it kind of, I think, gave you the respect for Hawkeye that none of the other movies really gave.
Yeah, but I feel like it's more important that too, because like it's not just Hawkeye himself. Hawkeye is taking the position of how we're all supposed to feel, like how the whole world is. Like we're like they had the Russo brothers. So big shout out to the Russo brothers. I can't believe they pulled this off, but they had to show why everything's so important. Like they had to show the people who's watching this movie, wh- why the Avengers are doing what they're gonna be doing. Because like you got to understand, like a regular person like Hawkeye just lost his family. You got to show how heavy that is, like, and how emotional and how like crazy it made everybody. Because you just at one snap of a finger, you just lost everyone that's important to you. And that's why I think that scene was so important. But then the part that surprised the heck out of me was they went straight after Thanos, and not
Hmm.
just and not just to talk, but Thor straight up cut his head off and killed Thanos like right away. I was shocked, dude. I was like, "What?" I wasn't even ready for that. I was like, "Dang."
I kind of I kind of saw it coming because after I saw that the stones were gone, I was like,
Well,
now that he doesn't
did
have the
you did
stones,
you really know that the stones were gone though? Cause like
no, but once
it didn't really show you his glove when they first showed up.
no, it didn't, but like once just all of a sudden this guy is secluded and then just living his life, I was like, hmm. And then straight away when they find him and like chop his hand off, without that, it gave me this realization that without the stones and without the glove, this guy really isn't a threat. He's just a dude.
Well, I don't know if cause see, I couldn't tell that when I first saw that, dude. Like, you don't know that
No,
for
I was
sure.
saying no. I meant like without like once they showed that he didn't have the stones anymore. That gave me the realization of just like, you know, he doesn't really have a power himself. Once he like got his head chopped off, I was I wasn't really surprised how fast it went, because once you put it into perspective, all of these people around him are much stronger without the glove. They're much, much stronger. So once he got his head chopped off, I was like, I didn't see that coming, that's for sure. But then I was like, you know, without the glove, like I'm not talking about right now. I was talking about like in earlier aspects of different movies. Without the glove and without his army,
Mm,
he's just really good
I
at
could,
fighting.
I could,
That's
I,
about it.
I could totally disagree with that because wait, did you see Infinity War?
Yeah.
Dude, he beat up the Hulk without all the powers of the glove.
No, I know. That's what I was saying. Like, he's just a really good fighter. He's like, that's all the stuff in the last scene that we'll get into later was honestly really quick thinking from his part.
But
There was no powers. It was just really quick thinking and being
still though
sneaky and being really.
he has the strength because well, not that many people could overpower the Hulk. So he has the strength, but like, because the thing is, like, I guess they kind of gave you a maybe a tidbit because they did show him limping up into the house, so kind of was like a hint, like he's not as powerful as he used to be. But I didn't know for sure that he was that. I didn't know for sure that he was that weak
Mhm.
at that point in time. But Thanos Thanos is powerful enough at his prime to beat all those people up because in that final battle was a young Thanos and he beat up
Mhm.
Captain Marvel. Like, dude, he beat her up until she didn't show back up until Tony's funeral. Spoiler alert, Iron Man dies. But yeah, so I
But
was,
just so you know, that's not the only death.
yeah,
Just so you know.
but I was totally surprised that they took out Thanos that quickly, and then it goes into 5 years later, and everyone's like mourning or just trying to figure out what they're gonna do with their lives because they're like, oh, how are we even gonna? We can't do anything now because the stones are gone. Like, you can't fix anything now.
Okay. I had one issue with half the world gone. That's a lot of people per country.
Yeah.
But they had enough people to build that whole ass memorial in New York
Oh, dude. I mean, when you're thinking about it, though, dude, those are
in
just
5 years.
yeah. I can see it happening. I can see it happening. You use machines, man.
I know, but I'm just like, if all like, okay, so if you know what? Let me see. Uh,
It's it's just slab of
New York.
it's just slabs of rock with put it under a machine. You type it in, boom, done.
So New York population is 8.6 million as of 2017. So if you took that out, that's 4.3 million people. I admit that there may be
But
enough
but
people
here's
to
the thing
do
though.
that,
But
but
here's the thing
I
though.
just
It's not going to be the names of everyone in New York City. It's probably just going to be the names of everyone in that state. You know what I'm saying? Because if you
yeah.
look at all those rocks, dude, there's not millions and millions of rocks. Dude.
No, that's what I say. It's not like I'm not saying that they built that. I'm just saying like within those 5 years, I still probably would have been like, what the fuck just happened?
But
Like what?
see, like, you're just one person, and like you gotta see how everyone grieves, and we're gonna get into that too, because you're. This is what I love about this movie is that it shows you how everyone grieves differently. Some people grieve and they'll get into production, like they're gonna go and do something, kind of like how Captain America got a group together, how Black Widow is keeping the team together and still, like, kind of overlooking the world. Some people will
Mhm.
grieve and be shocked and just not know what to do. Others will get productive. They'll be like, you know what, this bad thing just happened. I'm gonna help everybody. I'm gonna put names on stones and I'm gonna put it out in the park because people need to know. You know?
Hmm. So, other than that, I think I was just a little more surprised at how productive people still were. Like, if you need a certain amount of people to run like a hydroelectric plant to, keep the electricity going, after
But you
about
don't
a
you
couple
don't you don't you don't
years.
realize this is just half the population though. The population is humongous. Then this is what made Thanos so bad, or it's not bad, but so amazing, such a great villain, is that he realizes that there is an overpopulation. That's why people like sided with Thanos on some points, because like they could see where he's coming from. The world is the world, the universe is so overpopulated that it would help. It would be flourishing, because to get rid of half of the population, because then, you know, everyone's not going to be eating up all of the resources that's in the world, and everyone can be more productive. So
Okay, so to
getting rid of half isn't going to stop everyone from doing everything.
yeah, I just thought, had they made it like maybe 10 years, it would have been a little easier to comprehend.
I mean,
But yeah, like
look,
I get it. Yeah, it's
yeah.
just 5 seems a little short.
I don't know. I can still see it happening because the thing is, people still want to, like, people are gonna want to know, and they're gonna try to get it up as
Mhm.
fast as possible. And also, names on stones aren't that hard to do.
No, I know that. It's just like when I saw it, there was like landscaping, there was benches, there was all this stuff, and I was like,
Those benches and landscape could have
if
already been
like,
there. They could have just. I think the only thing that's made is the stones.
sure, I was just like what if one of them was the mayor that like got vanished? So I was just like, if that happened, it would take like maybe because in that first couple of years, wouldn't you be like, well, what gives you the right to take control of what's going on? I just had a couple thoughts, but I do understand that it will still thrive. People will still need to work, but like, there's also a lot of questions and a lot of different companies that are probably never recovered after that. But so to get real quick, the I'm not gonna get all hippie about it, but man, there's a lot of fucking people.
Well,
Like, it really makes you think that there's a lot of people, and our world can't really last that long with how it's going because it's gonna keep growing. That's for sure.
um, okay,
I'm sorry, I had to get real because it made me
but
seeing all this stuff happen with CO2 and global warming and stuff like that. It's just it really makes you think that we're not gonna get a snap of a finger to save us. We're gonna have to deal with that on. But yeah, that's
um,
just me. It just got me thinking.
okay. uh, Back to the movie though, which is what this review is supposed to be about. But yeah, the world is overpopulated. I mean, but that's kind of why people sympathize with Thanos, and that's what made him such a powerful villain, because you could see where he's coming from. You know what I'm saying? Um, but
Yeah, but
yes,
also you hate him because it's not his work.
it's not his. Well, the thing is, it's not his decision. It shouldn't be a one man's decision, and you don't have a choice. And that's where the bad part comes along with is, uh, like, if it's just being one man's choice and you're just like, oh, let's delete half of everyone, then yeah, it's pretty bad news. You don't want that, and that's what Thanos was doing. But then again, like, you see where he's coming from. Like, everything's gonna die quicker because there's too many people.
Hmm.
Like, there's just too many population, not just people, but animals and aliens and whatnot and everything. Because you gotta think of everything. Because he's not just getting rid of half of humanity. He's getting rid of half of the universe. So half of everything existing all around the universe.
Hmm.
And it shouldn't be just that one person's decision. So
Yeah.
that's
So
what made him
when
evil.
so when it comes down to it, I really felt that the sacrificing of Iron Man, it was a big play, but man, it was worth it. He did the right thing.
Well, yeah. I mean, I I mean, I guess we could get into that. Like, okay, so some people are like, oh, like, oh, they just let Iron Man die like that. Well, the thing is, they didn't just let Iron Man die like that. It was deserving, and it was foreshadowing from all the way from the beginning. Because
That voice message thing.
he's seen if you watch Age of Ultron, he's seen this scene already. He saw everyone dead. Like he knew this was coming. He was working for this from get go. Like, this is his redemption. This is basically what he was meant to do, was to save humanity. And it was told to him through his own vision, like a long time ago, and he's been working for it ever since. And not just that, but he felt like he failed his friends, he failed everyone, because his plan didn't work when he was on Trident fighting Thanos.
Mhm. See, the reason I wanted to get into that because it kind of shocked me. It really kind of shocked me when, after Ant-Man showed up and they showed up at his cabin, that he was so reluctant to help right away. I thought he would have just jumped on it
Well,
as soon as he could. I do admit that it is because probably his family and he didn't want to
well,
lose them.
not
You would
just
think,
not just that. It shows how calculated and smart Tony is. He didn't want to jump into a plan unless the plan was fully thought out. And he thought that, oh, if I'm gonna join forces with the person who I think is a traitor to me, and some guy he didn't know, and some, the girl that was part of his team, but kind of like, wasn't part of his team. Um, he didn't think that they would have it all figured out yet. And that's why he didn't join right away until he himself figured out the equation.
yeah. So, uh, so yeah, getting into that, he did find out the equation, and he was totally for it as soon as he realized that it could be done. But right before that, man, the Bruce Hulk kind of threw me for a loop.
I
I was
loved
not
it.
ready for that.
I
I
loved
liked
it
it too. I just wasn't ready
because
for it.
because I know the comic of Professor Hulk.
Mhm.
And to me, it surprised me too, because I was like, there's no way they're gonna do Professor Hulk. It is just too the the comic run itself was kind of it was more of a comic comedy run. It wasn't like serious. Professor Hulk never really got into like big Hulk fights or anything like that. But just to
It
see
was
it,
one of those what if things,
yeah, just to see it was funny and hilarious, and I loved it. The thing is, like, and this is the thing about Endgame also. They did a good job of doing drama, comedy, and action all at once. Some people
Hmm.
may think they might have overdone it with the comedy. To me, though, I felt like it was placed at the right time, because you kind of needed a relief, so that you kind of had a breather between all the drama and all the action.
Man, but those are the same people who had the issue with as much comedy as it was in the newer Thor movies, because they weren't. At first, he was completely serious, but if you watch some of the newer Thor movies,
Well,
it was
just
mostly
the one new Thor movie,
yeah.
Ragnarok. But I think that's what relit Thor's popularity, was the Ragnarok movie, because the comedy Thor
Mhm.
is way much better. And that brings us to Fat Thor. Now, a
No,
lot of people
that brings
have
us to Big
the
Lebowski.
Big Lebowski too. A lot of people have a problem with that, because they're like, "Oh my God, they're fat shaming or something like that." No, man, this is a brand new thing. Do you know how many people could cosplay as Thor now because of this? You don't have to be a supermodel to be Thor anymore. Just grow out your hair, grow out some beard, and just carry that axe and hammer, man.
Well, you're just gonna see a bunch of Big Lebowski
Thors.
cosplayers. Yeah, they're just gonna be holding a hammer and an axe now, and it's going to be a whole new thing. But speaking of, it was a bring back of two of my favorite characters, which I never thought I would see again.
Korg.
Uh, yep.
Or what's
Those,
the other one? Meek? Is it Meek and Korg?
yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. Those
Those
guys were
two of
awesome
my
in
favorite
Ragnarok.
characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Playing Fortnite of all things.
Seriously.
Talk about fan service, dude. I mean, come on.
Seriously.
They dug deep for that one.
Hmm.
But I loved it because the thing is, it's playing off of Thor, and this is another part of it that it humanizes Thor because Thor is a god. You kind of
Hmm.
needed to humanize Thor, like just for him to be a god the whole time, and also it showed how hard it hit him too, like how hard losing because he lost. Yes, he's the most losing superhero in the Marvel universe. He lost his parents. He lost uh Asgard. He
Loki.
lost half of his race. You know, he lost his hammer, his brother. You know,
Hmm.
so it has to show how hard it hit him, and how else can you show how hard it hit him by making him what he became? You needed
Hmm.
that, like you needed to show how messed up this made him, and also not just that, but he's the reason why they lost to Thanos, because and
Yeah.
which is a callback to the beginning scene where they cut off his head, and everyone looked at him like, "Why'd you do that?" And he's like, "Well, I went for the head," because that's what Thanos
Hmm.
told him at the end of Infinity War was, "You should have went for the head," because then he snapped right after.
Yeah, and just because it really, I know it's people kind of hate the humanizing of him, but dude, it shows in the whole movie. It shows him going through different things that you never really saw because earlier on he was always just so cocky. He was so, I'm a god, I have powers you don't, but you know, he has, love for his mom who he lost. Uh he gets scared, he is angry because he doesn't want to hear the name Thanos. It really just shows him that even though he's had the time, the 5 years really just gave him more time to just think about
Yeah.
what happened.
Oh yeah. Totally. And the thing is like his comedic value is so great. Like I didn't realize how funny Chris Helmsworth could be. Let's just say
Hmm.
that. And now I appreciate it. And he does it well. Like, dude, he's awesome. I thought Big Lebowski Thor was amazing. And
Yeah, because
just to see that scene too at the end where he's fighting Thanos and he brings up um, his axe and Mjolnir, that
mhm.
was an awesome scene. I mean, oh my god, like that was just one of that oh shit moments of that fight scene. It was amazing.
And well, I mean, we're gonna get into it more later, but you kind of had a what is it? A little Easter egg in one of the earlier saw Captain America try to pick up the hammer and it just moves a little bit. It was kind of like an Easter egg of what was to happen.
Oh yeah, that was an Age of Ultron, but I mean like yeah,
Yeah.
you want to talk about oh shit moments. Yeah, dude. Fucking you see the hammer or this was when Thanos was about to basically kill Thor, and then all of a sudden you
Hmm.
see the hammer flying and it hits Thanos, and then it you see it you think like to me at first I thought maybe the hammer was like it had its own mind and it knew that Thor was in trouble and was coming to help him, but when you saw the hammer fly back, you knew someone picked it up, and then when you see who caught it and it was Captain America, like oh man, dude, the
Hmm.
theater that I was in, dude, I want to say everyone was like, oh, like just the whole theater was like just saying, oh man, it was crazy.
Dude, even Thor was like, "Pff, I knew it.
Yeah,
Like I knew."
because he did know it.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's just that okay, so even before that, the setting up of the time travel thing, one of the funniest scenes came out of it when Ant-Man tries to do the time travel with Bruce Banner, and then he like becomes a
You mean
baby and
Professor
then an
Hulk,
old
please?
man, Professor Hulk, but then he becomes
A baby, an
the
old
baby,
man.
and then when Iron Man comes in and he's just like he turned into a baby, right? Dude, I was laughing so hard. I couldn't get over it because you know, yeah, Bruce Banner is smart, but he
Well,
was more into
he's
genetics.
yeah, he told him right away like I know nothing of quantum physics.
Hmm.
Like that's not his
And
specialties.
I also don't think that people that were watching the movie realized how long it takes for somebody who is not in that field to completely drop everything and learn that. I'm just glad that Iron Man figured it out. And you even saw it in his face when he was, maybe these guys are right. Maybe it can work.
Well, no, when he solved the equation, he knew like it works.
Yeah,
Like he was like,
like
"Oh,"
right
and
away.
because that's where like he had his contemplation. He was just like, "Shoot, I solved it. I know how to fix everything." Like, but if I do this, because in his head, I think he knew already that he was gonna die because he was like, "I'm gonna
Hmm.
if I go into this, I'm gonna give it 110%, and I'm gonna give my life to making sure that everything is brought back to normal." You know, he knew
Hmm.
that already, and I think that's where it weighed on him. Is like, okay, I wish I didn't solve this problem, but I just solved it, and now I gotta
Hmm.
tell my wife that, well, I solved this problem, and now I could go fix it. But if I go fix this, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna die.
Yeah, and I am so glad that uh they didn't keep Potts as like that person that was like, no, you're not gonna go. I'm scared of losing you. She kind of understood that
Hmm.
maybe it is gonna happen,
Yeah,
but
she
doing it for the
knows.
right reason.
I think she's been with him for so long, and she's been inside his head long enough to where like she knows that he's that type of person. Like I'm gonna do what I need to do to fix everything, even if it means, killing myself.
Yeah, it seriously, it's one of those things that if you are watching this without watching the movie, you're not gonna really get the grasp
Of
of
the
his
importance.
feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it really shows. Which, yeah, he may have had some issues in the past, but he's a really good actor.
Yep.
He has this way of expressing how he feels without even saying it, and yeah, just the getting into the time travel part really comes through when you see Hawkeye come in, and he has absolutely lost everything, and he is ready to just die if it means he has a chance to see his family again. So that also was humanizing, and I really like that because, you know, even heroes, they care about their family,
Yeah.
no matter what family it is.
And like I think for like Tony's part is that the only sad part is that he has that daughter, and which is gonna
Yeah.
come full circle later though because and it could go either way too, but it's weird. But yeah, so they go into the time heist. So we'll jump to there. Time heist. One chance only. The only thing maybe, and I overlooked it because of how great this movie is that I don't know why they just didn't do the time heist to get more Pym particles, and then so that way they could have more than just one chance to get each stone. But and we'll let that go. So
Hmm.
okay, so they only have one chance to do this. Everyone splits up, and everyone has to go and get the stones. Uh, there's three stones in New York. One where Guardians of the Galaxy 1 started, and
Hmm.
then one, the Soul Stone one. I don't know which one. I don't know which scene you want to go into first, but or we don't
I
even have
kind
to
of want to
go.
go into this. I kind of want to get into the Soul Stone because I have an issue. I want to get
Okay, let me explain this, and I think this is how it goes. I think Black Widow and Hawkeye chose to go together because, for one thing, I think Black Widow, because she knows, she kind of knows where all the stones are and what you're supposed to do to get the stones. I think she knew she had to sacrifice it herself, and her sacrifice is important because she knew that she didn't have regular family. Her family was the Avengers.
Hmm.
And it shows like how much she cares about them because she's gonna give up her life to make sure the Avengers succeed. And everyone else has real life family, like that are still living and stuff like that. So like with her not having real life family that's still alive, she knows that she could sacrifice herself. And I also think that she knew that when they go there to get the soul stone, someone's gonna have to be sacrificed to get the soul stone, and that's why she chose to go. And that's also why she chose to go with Hawkeye, because she knows that Hawkeye loves her and she loves Hawkeye also. So like, like it's kind of like she knew what she was getting into, and that
Hmm.
also kind of it also puts weight on this movie too, which a lot of movies didn't have weight. I don't know if you remember when we reviewed, or when I reviewed Captain Marvel, I was saying there's like
Hmm.
no weight to the movie, nothing really important happened. Well, here they're giving you all the important thing that's happening. Like, you know, someone needs to sacrifice their life to continue to make sure everything succeeds, and this is what put weight on the movie, and this is is making it important. And that's why I think Black Widow's death was important, and that's what made it so like heartfelt. And like I was sad to see her die, like because she was kind of one of my favorite characters in all the Avengers, like the one person without any powers or anything, but she was so badass and kicking butt. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. Isn't there even supposed to be a Black Widow movie?
Yeah, but everyone thinks it's going to be a prequel now because I mean, come on, they're not going to figure out a way to bring her back until, but in that quickly, because it's supposed to come out next year, next summer, I think.
Yeah, that's why I was a little confused. And also, like, I was surprised that, uh, what's her name? The Gamora's sister,
Nebula.
Nebula. I was surprised that she didn't just up and say, you gotta sacrifice somebody for that. Because she
No,
knew.
I think she did. I think she told everyone. Everyone knew where the stones were, and everyone knows the conditions that you need to be able to get the soul stone, because
But
when the Red
how
Skull
did Hawkeye not know?
No, I think they all knew because when the Red Skull showed up and gave them the proclamation, they both looked at each other like they knew, you know, one of them had to be you know, sacrificed. That's why they were
Hmm.
both. That's why they were both ready to sacrifice each other. Like, like Hawkeye was like, "I'll be the one. I'll be the sacrifice," and that's why Black Widow was like, "No, I'll be the sacrifice." I think each one of them knew, and that's why they chose to go together. And I think that's why like those two were the ones that wanted to go to that stone because they knew
Hmm.
that there was going to be a sacrifice, and each one of them was okay sacrificing themselves, even though
Hmm.
Black Widow's like, did even though Black Widow did the right thing because like if they save humanity, Hawkeye, you're gonna have a freaking family, dude. Why would you sacrifice yourself? You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I get that now. Because like at first I was just like, hmm. It kind of made me question because it seemed like they were going into didn't know, but if anybody, only Black Widow knew. But yeah, I can kind of see it because he wasn't really surprised when
Yeah.
they told him.
Yeah, they were both of them were not surprised at all when Red Skull gave them proclamation of how they're supposed to get the stone. They're like, they just looked at each other like, yeah, I know what to do, thinking that they were gonna just be the sacrifice.
Hmm.
But both of them were like, no, you're not doing it, I'm doing it, like, and they had a big battle to see who was gonna off themselves.
So yeah, yeah. So what happened after that? Okay, so which one do you want to get into next?
Well, let's get into this part because it comes out with a speculation for me, and that is
Hmm.
them getting the Tesseract from themselves.
Yeah.
Because this was amazing, a bit of fan service also. because you get the scene from Winter Soldier where Captain America's inside the elevator with the Hydra people. And this is also a callback to all the people who read the comic run where Captain America turned Hydra also. So like in Winter Soldier, he ends up beating all of them up. But this is a smarter Captain America. He's like, instead of beating all of them up, what if I just like turn to them and be like, "Hail Hydra," and they're like, "Oh, he's Hydra," and he could just walk out. He could just walk out the elevator with the stone. You know what I'm saying? Like, smart, amazing. It plays to the fans, readers, and movie watchers. Like, awesome scene. Then you
Oh yeah.
had then you had the Tony and Ant Man one where they shrunk Ant Man and he had to get into the past Tony's suit and disrupt his heart and everything like that. Plan went off well. Tony had the Tesseract in his hands, the suitcase with the Tesseract in his hands, was gonna walk away. Past Hulk is like all mad because he had to take the stairs. And it was funny too. Like I mean, like that was an amazing scene. It was like stairs, Hulk hates stairs. Busts out of the door and knocks out Tony, future Tony, and then you see Loki. He grabs the Tesseract and disappears.
You know, I expected a little more out of that. Like I thought they'd end up having to chase down Loki,
No,
but I
I don't,
yeah.
because this is perfect. This is the way Marvel does it. They don't ever do anything for no reason. There's a reason for this. This is the reason why Loki is not dead. Like it
Hmm.
proves it now, and it also proves that they already messed up the timeline because the when the future Hulk goes and talks to the ancient one, um, she tells him, look, if you mess up anything in this timeline, it creates a new timeline already. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
Hmm.
because they messed that up and because Loki got away, they already messed up the timeline. And let me tell you why
Yeah.
this is important. Their Disney or Marvel Disney on the Disney streaming service is planning to do the What If line. And
Oh shit,
it's
really?
gonna be the What If, yeah, it's gonna be the Marvel What If show. And I read
Hmm.
this and I was happy, but I was like, how are they gonna do it? How are they gonna combine it with everything? Well, this is how they do it. Timeline is already messed up. They could recall straight to this movie and be like, this is why this happened, and because this happened, then this could happen. And that's how they do the What If series. It's like it's perfect. It's right there, you know? Like
Hmm.
and this can also be why how they could bring in all the mutants from X-Men and everything like that because of this event and this happens and then X-Men exists. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And then I mean, you never know. That could be their reason for getting everybody to practice. You know.
hmm like it's perfect. It's Marvel's smart way of looking dumb but not really being dumb. They're being smart, just people don't realize it. Or at least that's the way I see it. Because now Loki isn't dead. Loki is gone. They messed up the timeline. They already messed up the timeline. It doesn't matter that Captain America went back and lived his whole life in the past because they had already messed up the timeline anyways. Time
There's a
travel,
lot to
so
get from this
confusing.
movie, man. Yeah.
So confusing, but so like I mean, it brings up a lot of things that could happen, and like it's perfect. And I think they thought about that too because I'm pretty sure the Russo brothers know like, oh, if we mess with time travel, because they even explained it in before they even did the time travel scene. They're like, well, haven't you seen Back to the Future? Well, you can't base things off of movies. That doesn't work. Like, what
Hmm.
about Time Cop? And so they know
Quantum leap and
so they know that time travel is crazy and could mess everything up, and I think they did it so that they could set up future references, you know what I'm saying? Like They did it smart. I feel like they did it smart.
Yeah, you can totally see that they know what they're doing, and just doing this with them kind of covering all the questions that they're going to get from this,
Yep. And then
which they knew they were going to.
we'll I think that covers everything, but except for jump to Nebula. So for some weird reason, when Nebula's in the past, her
Seriously, that
frame,
I had that problem.
her mainframe is connected to her past mainframe somehow. So future Nebula is connected to past Nebula because they share the same brain, I guess. Or I don't know.
I think this was the only way they could have brought out the end battle,
Yeah.
because that I was weirded out at how it would have started playing, because there's no real reason she didn't like knock her head and then it started playing. It just started playing in the wrong time. Just horrible things happen.
Yeah.
But
I mean, not the strongest writing, but like I said, it's a small part of the movie. I can overlook it because everything else is so great.
mhm.
And then here's one of the questions that came to me, or that was brought up to me. The rest of the guys, Tony Stark was the only one who was able to figure out time travel, and so they were like, well, then how can Thanos figure out time travel so quickly, and catch up to them and stuff like that? Well, here's the thing, maybe because Scott Lang said, it was 5 hours inside the quantum realm when it was 5 years in real life. So maybe Thanos did take a while to figure out time travel, you know, um, to get to the future. We don't know that. And also, Thanos has a way of having the smartest aliens in the world be at his side. So he probably had the smartest aliens figure it out in time. Like, who knows? But like, and also he also had the Pym particles from from future Nebula to. I don't know how he used it on the whole ship, but I mean, his aliens were probably smart enough to figure it out. You know, I mean, it kind of covers all
Honestly,
tracks. I mean, it may be hard to
it could have
believe, but it's doable.
it even so, it could have just been him, and then he could have like found some way to just convince the earlier Thanos that this is how we have to do it to win, there's a lot of things that could have happened. But once again, like I said before, this is just a lot of fan service. We're just getting all the answers to get this done and over with, but it was done in a really good way. There may be some questions, but like I said, it was how they had to do it so that they didn't have to have a second movie explaining everything, because that would have just destroyed the whole feeling of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like they did answer everything, and like if like I feel like people who were complaining about it are just nitpicking it, and are maybe DC fans and are just jealous that Marvel did it right.
I don't know though, because man, I
Oh,
think
wait,
DC is gonna knock it out of the park with this new Joker.
in a different way, although you know what though, I don't think they could do the numbers that Endgame is doing. Let me put it in perspective for you. One full day of opening has surpassed the whole
Everything.
time that Batman versus Superman, or no, has surpassed Justice League in the whole time they're out in the theaters. One day of Endgame
Mhm.
made more money than Justice League did in their full run.
I heard
Think
that
of
it
that.
was. I actually heard. Don't quote me on this because it may be wrong, but I also heard it was the biggest opening day for almost any movie.
hmm Right now, Avatar is number one for the most grossing movie ever. No one's ever came close. I think Titanic was first to begin with. Now Titanic is number two. Avatar is number one. The Force Awakens is number three. Endgame
But
is on Endgame is on track to beat Avatar right now.
But even so, with those numbers, of course, you're gonna get a bunch of people who are like questioning it, because not everybody in those numbers of people are gonna take the time to see as many movies as we did. So there's always gonna be that question of, are they really gonna get it? And even so, there's gonna be a lot of questions, but the people who have been there from the beginning, they take it for what it is and understand that this is the best that they could do with the time they got and the last movie, which honestly they did pretty well.
Wait, what are you talking
So I'll
about?
give them that.
You talking about Endgame?
Like yeah, I'm talking about like the amount of people, how massive it
Wait,
is.
were you thinking that whole time, or were you saying something? Because I think your mic cut out.
Oh, did it cut out?
I don't know.
Yeah, I was talking the entire time.
Okay, then yeah, your mic cut out. Say it again.
Oh, okay. So the amount of people who went on the opening day, the reason it was many people, which is kind of amazing, the amount of people who went to go see that movie, it's rare that all of them are going to be take the time to go see all the movies that we did. So there are going to still be a huge number of people who are going to want to see this movie, but still don't really understand how it all comes together. So there's
Yeah,
always going to be somebody who's like, I don't get it,
but
and I got questions.
but see, like
But
I think this helps though, because if it, yes, there's gonna be a large amount of people that are doing that, but I feel like a good amount of people that are doing that, some of them are gonna watch it and be like, I don't get it, but you know what? It's so interesting and so amazing to see that I'm gonna go watch the rest of the movie so I could get it. So I think it works
mhm.
both ways. It helps.
Yeah, but like I said, just with those numbers is always going to come some people who just don't get it. So you're always going to have to deal with that, especially with big numbers like this. Some people I know just went just so they could hate on it, which was,
It's
it's
gonna
always going to happen with
It's
big
gonna help
movies.
though. Like they can hate on it all they want, but the people who hate on this movie, dude, I feel like they just don't love life. This movie was amazing. It is a 10 out of 10 for me. It has like hit all of my nerd senses. It has satisfied all my geek needs. Like everything I wanted to see, I saw in this movie. Spider-Man with kill mode, freaking it showed you how powerful Scarlet Witch is. Like, oh my God, I don't know why they don't have a Scarlet Witch movie on the docket. I hear that they
Mhm.
might have a Scarlet Witch show. I don't know. I don't know if she'd be good for a show. I mean, maybe depending on what
If
kind of
they
storyline they do. But
if
man,
they did, think I don't think they'd keep the same person.
no, they will. Every show that's on the docket, they said that it's gonna be the people you know from the movies because this is a Disney owned thing and they're not doing business with like an outside company like ABC or Netflix or anything like that. This is all gonna be Disney
Mhm.
and Marvel owned now because of the streaming service. Everyone who's gonna get a show like they're doing the what's his name, Falcon and Bucky team up show. It's gonna be same characters, same actors. They're doing a Scarlet Witch and what was the robot guy's
Vision?
name? Vision, yeah, Scarlet Witch Vision show, same actors. Although I don't know how they're gonna bring back Vision, they need to explain that and kind of make me interested in the show now. But I kind of wish it was a movie because just seeing Scarlet Witch in that fight with Thanos, I was just like, God damn, this girl needs a movie. Like that was awesome the way they showed her powers, how powerful her magic is. Like she was about to beat Thanos. The only reason why she couldn't was because he called down the rain of missiles from his ship.
Mhm.
If he did not do that, if he didn't have a ship, Scarlet Witch was gonna rip Thanos like limb from limb, dude. That was
Yeah.
amazing.
So should we take that as a cut into talking about the final fight?
I mean, we kind of already in it, yeah. Like
Yeah.
we're
So
I think we're past all the time travel stuff. I mean, we kind of explain everything on that, and yeah, and then we'll go straight into and
real
yeah, straight into the fight.
yeah. Real quick, dude. I gotta admit, it was like full fan service.
But it doesn't matter. I loved it for it.
No, yeah, that it was a good thing. Honestly, the way I saw it was everybody they were making it for, but if you weren't a fan and you still watched it, that was still a good thing, you know.
Hmm.
But
But
they,
here's what it is though. Like, if you've never seen any of the movies, and you could get through
it's
that
still an
first,
awesome film.
and if you get through that first hour of the movie, that final fight was most awesome enough to be like, yo, that was an amazing flick. I mean,
Hmm.
like no one can say that last fight was bad. Like that was amazing to see. It before this one, the Civil War battle scene I thought was the best battle scene they've ever done. But now after that, seeing this battle, this had so many oh shit moments on it for me that I was just like, yo, this battle scene is the best battle scene I've ever seen.
Hmm.
You
It
got
it was intense. They but like we said earlier, it gave everybody their shot.
yeah,
It gave
everyone had their moment. Like it was amazing. I mean, just seeing like it first started with just the main three fighting Thanos, and they were just getting their butts handed to them by Thanos. You saw how hard Captain America fight and how well he could hold himself up against Thanos, but still Thanos was just getting the best of him. You know?
Mhm. And also right before this, Nebula shoots herself. Not like what you think, but
Yeah, which is another like kind of hole because you think like, okay, if you shoot your past self, doesn't that mean that you're down? I don't know, like
unless this is because
different timeline.
this was after um, Loki left, so maybe it classified itself as a different timeline.
That's what I'm saying. Now you see what I'm saying. It's a different timeline. Like, yeah. But so, dude, I mean, just the way it all
And even
starts, dude, it's amazing.
even yeah, even so, the Emperor so the Emperor Supreme of the Doctor Strange, the girl,
Hmm.
she even said, you know, our timeline isn't going to help your timeline. When he says that, you know, it may be a different timeline, but we can come back and turn it back into your timeline. So just even right there, you kind of realize that it wasn't the same timeline. So
Yeah,
it kind of closes up all those holes, that's for
yeah.
sure. Because when I
It's
too was like,
it's
I,
it's
I was like,
it's doing two things at once. It's tying up everything and setting up future.
mhm. But yeah, like so after that they after the fight and then essentially Captain America's the only one left uh that's up and fighting because the others are either knocked out or
And then the most
uh
epic scene happens. Or
yeah.
to me it was because when I saw this happen, my jaw. This was the first point where my jaw dropped because this scene was just epic as. Mm.
It was pretty kick-ass. You got essentially every of the 22 movies tied together in this one scene. But like we said, it's one of those amazing feats that was really hard to pull off because they had to give everybody their own shot. And that's a lot of movies. But they
Hmm.
really did give everybody their own shot. Like, and even they, like I said earlier, I was joking about it, but not really. They even gave the SJWs, you know, their own thing where they even had all of just the girls together and then all of just the guys together and then they got just the Iron Mans and then
Hmm.
just
Dude,
the Black
every
Panther.
everything they gave everyone their just due and their rightful time. Like, and it also what it also did was it reminded me of the characters that I forgot about too. Because
Hmm.
like when they all showed up, I was like, oh yeah, the Valkyrie still exists. I'm like, I forgot about them because they had brought back their flying horses. Because I was like, wait, because they didn't have their flying horses in a long time, so they weren't really
Yeah.
a team anymore. So when I saw them flying in on their horses, I was like, oh my god, they brought them back.
The one thing that surprised me the most was they actually brought in Pepper Potts as an Iron
Yeah,
Man.
um, that was. And
Iron Woman, my bad.
her suit was pretty amazing too because it was like high tech. Because in the comic book, she was the protect, or was it the protector, or I forgot what her actual name was, but her suit was built to rescue. I think she was
Mhm.
I think she was called Rescue. I forget. But yeah, she was just made for rescuing. Her suit was built to come in, grab anyone who was hurt and then book it and, rescue them basically. She didn't really have any firepower. But that's comics. This is the movies. She had weapons. Like her weapons were awesome. She had the kind of floating arms behind her that had lasers and missiles and everything like that. Dude, I
It
thought it
kind
was
of it,
awesome.
dude, it kind of reminded me of the Marvel versus Capcom like repulsor blast.
Hmm. It kind of
But
almost
even
it
so,
kind of almost reminded me of a little bit of Gundam style stuff.
yeah. And even so, it just brings me back to the Marvel versus Capcom thing because I love those games, but I knew it from the beginning. Dude, the best team up, Spider-Man,
And Iron Man.
Captain America. Yeah, well, Iron Man, Captain America, and Hulk, and Spider-Man thrown in there here and there. That's the best team up, dude. So you already know that in the movie they had
Well,
kick
see,
ass.
I
It just
I,
made me
I always use
love
Spider-Man and Iron Man because Spider-Man was for the combos and the air combos, and Iron Man was there for when you did the multiple power power hit because
them.
he
And
had the
then
big cannon.
I think Captain America could keep you away with his shield, but if you got close, man, he had some good combos.
Hmm.
But then again, not getting into it that much because if I had to swap out Spider-Man, I'd probably swap in Wolverine because he could keep a distance. But then he had
Mm.
also the ultras.
But he was so cheesy though, and everyone used him. I used Striker.
The Striker pisses me off because he can keep you far away and still do as much damage. But either way, nobody can beat Hulk. Hulk was just the guy.
But
Like,
see, Striker was a little hard to master, and I think that's why I liked him because not many people knew how to do his combos. That's why everyone used
mhm.
Wolverine.
Everybody hated that Batgirl because she was so hard to perfect.
You mean Morgan?
Yeah, that's her name, Morgan. Because if you messed up, she would like stumble a little bit, so you had to be
Yeah, but
perfect.
dude, I love Morgan because she had the hidden secret move, the kiss of death.
Oh yeah, and then it
If
would
you could pull that
stun you.
off, if you could pull that off, you're basically dead, and everyone hated if anyone saw that happening, and it was the most amazing hidden move ever, because
Mhm.
you catch them, she flies off, and then curtains, and then you their silhouettes kissing, and then when the curtains draw back, they're basically done for.
Oh yeah.
Okay, we're getting
I'm,
off topic. We're
yeah,
talking
we're
too
getting
much
off
games
topic.
here.
Just just real quick. Even so, we're not talking about Capcom 3 because I mean, dude, if you've played that game, Captain Marvel, or no, not Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange is pretty hardcore. But yeah, so we're getting off topic, but still, like the whole movie, it gave everybody, which is why we consider it like fan service to the max because it gave you everything you wanted. If you liked a movie that not many people else liked, it
Hmm.
doesn't matter. They gave you your justification of
Yeah.
liking that movie because you saw them kick ass.
Yep. Ant-Man had his scene. Spider-Man had his scene. Captain Marvel had her scene. The Valkyrie had her scene. Excuse me. But
All of
yeah,
the Wakandans had their
all the
scene. Every
Wakandas had their scene. Yep. It was. I don't know, man. I don't know how they could. I don't know how they could do any better. It was amazing.
Yeah, they did
Now,
it pretty much the best that they could do.
now, um, let me get through the ending real quick, and I have speculations, and we'll get to your speculations and whatever. Um,
Mhm.
okay, so the battle ends. Iron Man, actually, Iron Man or Thanos gets back to Gauntlet, and he's about to snap again. Captain Marvel comes and tries to stop him from snapping. Captain Marvel gets like tossed around like a rag doll, and boom, she's like done for. You don't see her until later. Then Iron Man gets up, flies over, grabs the hand of Thanos, and I already know, and people are wondering how he got the stones. Think about it, people. Nanotech. Everything Iron Man makes is with nanotech. So if he's able to touch it, he could control whatever that thing is through the nanotech. So of course he's going to be able to get the rings off of the giant glove and into his. Easily explained, done and done. So Iron Man gets the glove, snaps the finger, all the bad guys disappear. But because he has the glove, the thing is, you have to have a bloodline of I forgot what they're called, Eternals or something, to be able to live past the snap. And because Tony snapped and he's not strong enough to take that power, ultimately dies. And there's a touching scene right before he dies too, because you see Peter Parker come and he's like Tony, Mr. Stark, Mr. Stark, and you knew the bond between those two. And then Pepper Pot comes and she says something very important. She's like, now you could rest. And that explains how the relationship between Pepper Potts and Tony Stark is, because she knows that this is what he was going for, and that's why she said you could rest now, because he couldn't rest until all of this was finished and done, and he finished and he did it, and it's finished. Now he could rest.
And even so, afterwards, it made me glad that he had that moment to actually go back and get the Tesseract and actually speak with his dad, even though
he got his closure.
Yeah, he got his closure, and even so, with the hug with Peter Parker, even he was just like, "Oh, this." Like he doesn't fully understand, because for everybody it was just like a second. They just passed out and woke up, but for everybody else it was years. And I think afterwards, once they realize that it's been that long and they're told that it's going to have that even more of a hard hit, that they spent this whole time trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, and then so it fastest forward, and we are at Tony Stark's funeral. Everyone's there. It's heartfelt. It goes scene by scene, and it shows everybody. And then all of a sudden it pans to this kid, and I don't know if you remember the scene. I don't know who the heck this kid is, and there's theories of who this kid is. I don't know if I believe it or not, but I might believe it. But he's standing there by himself towards the back near the house, but he's by himself. And I'm gonna put a picture of him right down there, and who the hell is this kid?
I was thinking that. I was like, I don't know this guy.
Me either, because I recognize everyone. It showed Hawkeye and his family. I knew who they were. It showed the Guardians of the Galaxy. I know who they are. It showed Spider-Man and his mom. I know who they are. And then there's
Aunt
this,
May, right?
yeah. And then there's this.
Aunt May?
Yep, that's Peter Parker and Aunt May. And then it shows this one kid, and I'm like, who the hell is this kid? And I'm like, is Marvel pulling a fast one on us, just planning the future without us even knowing it, And this is where it raises speculations, because I think even though Tony Stark is dead, Iron Man is not dead. It could live through his daughter, because his daughter is gonna be smart as heck, and also the suits aren't all gone because Pepper Potts has a suit, so.
And you never know. It could have been that, the early versions of it, kind of foreshadowing when she actually comes out of that little tent and is wearing one of his helmets.
Exactly. She is the future Iron Man. But if it's not her, here's the theory. Everyone's saying that kid was the kid from Iron Man 3 that helps Tony Stark when he fell and almost died, and he needed to recuperate. Everyone's saying that kid is that little kid. Now, if it is that little kid, that kid was smart enough to help Tony Stark, so that kid is smart, so he could be the future Iron Man. But you know what? I haven't had time to even go back and watch Iron Man 3 or Iron Man 2 to make sure if that kid was that kid, or if it's the same kid, or maybe they're just saying that's that kid, But I don't know. But the thing is he's there, and I didn't recognize him. I don't know who the heck he is.
And if you didn't see it fully, that little scene at the end with what's his name, the guy with the eye patch.
um, Nick Fury.
Yeah, Nick Fury. So he's coming in for the first time after being taken away. I was actually really surprised I didn't see him in the fight too, because if you don't know the comics, he's actually a really, really good fighter.
Yeah,
He's really smart. He's really good with a gun.
but in the movies though, they make him more of like the um, behind the scenes type guy. So I wasn't
True.
too.
And in the comics he's white, so
Yeah, I'm not too surprised. But
there's a lot of different stuff.
also that kid that we don't know who he is. I'm also speculating that if it's not the guy, if it's not the little kid that helped Iron Man in the past movies, it could be a plant. It could be because they are in a
Oh
different.
yeah.
It could be that because we are in a different timeline, he is someone important, and we're not gonna know until future. Like they're gonna reference him somehow. Like he was.
Yeah,
They're like he
dude.
was there,
y-
but was he there? And who is he? And
Seriously, you never know, because in this timeline, Iron Man dies, but isn't like dead forever, because the legend lives on. But if you think about it, there's so many other heroes that they could go to. There's so many other heroes that we've never seen, that it could be anything. But
right.
one of the things is that I had this one weird thing. Like, I liked his daughter so much as a character.
Hmm.
Kind of bugged me at the end that I didn't see any tears. All she did was talk about cheeseburgers,
Well,
and it was kind of
she's a
cool.
little she's a little kid. She doesn't understand it yet, but she's gonna figure it out later. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I
well, not
I
just
could
that.
I could understand it because like I've been to sad situations and didn't cry either. Like it's understandable. Like it could
Yeah,
happen.
but not just that. The weird scene that really got me was the cheeseburger conversation.
No,
Because I mean, like
well look,
I got
it's
it.
it's it's a callback though. You know where that came
Oh
from,
yeah,
right?
I got the reference. It was just the connection between the two was a little weird. That's what I found weird.
I kind of liked it because it shows that that's Tony Stark's daughter. Tony Stark's daughter is gonna think like Tony Stark, and because they're showing that, it means that that could be the future Iron Man. if it's not
What?
if it's not that kid, if it's not the kid that no one knows who the heck he is, then his
Iron
daughter could be
Woman.
the future Iron Man.
Iron Woman.
Whatever, you know what I mean. But and that's the other thing too now because now they're even easilier foreshadowing new Avengers because if everyone
Yeah.
missed it, Ant-Man's daughter is now a teenager, so she could somehow become the future Ant-Man, also Ant-Woman, whatever you want to call it.
Good thing you did it before I did, because I had my mouth open. I was about to.
but but yeah, so the new Avengers, young Avengers, whatever you want to call them, it's set up and ready to go. They're all there. You have Iron Man's daughter, you have Ant Man's daughter, you have Hawkeye's daughter. Like it's set and ready. Like
I just hope Disney doesn't do to this like they did the Disney villains, because you know how they like turned them all into
that one
high
show.
school students. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh nah. I doubt it. I don't think
I really.
Kevin Feige will not let that happen.
But then again,
Because
this is Disney.
because the thing is they messed up once and did Inhumans, the Inhumans show, and that messed up, and I felt like they learned from that lesson that comic book fans are not gonna take mediocre. You know what I'm saying? So like yeah, they're not gonna do that
I just
mistake
hope so.
over.
I really hope so, man.
Yeah, because Inhumans bombed so hard, like and the thing was is because Kevin Feige didn't have his hands in that. That was um, I want to say Jeff Loeb or something. I forget what his name is, but it was a different showrunner, and he thought that he could be smarter than Kevin Feige and do run the show or whatever. Did not work out.
Mhm.
But they're not
But
gonna
yeah,
do that
so
mistake again. They're not gonna do
I
that
hope
the whole
not.
thing.
But yeah, like so they have an option. They were even setting up the newer version X-Men. All the young people. So they have a whole generation of superheroes that they could go to here on. Because I think the time of the old people is kind of like they've done 22 movies to set this up.
Hmm.
So it's time for a change. I just hope they do it right.
And it's all is oh well, let me just complete the whole movie now. So Iron Man funeral is done and over with. They go they're gonna send Captain America back to put away the stones, and he's supposed to come back because it takes however long it needs Captain America to do whatever he has to do, but it's only supposed to be 5 seconds for them, and he's supposed to come back. 5 seconds happens, he doesn't show up. The people there is Bucky, Falcon,
Sam.
and Professor Hulk, and they're like, "Why isn't he back? Why isn't he back?" They all turn. They see an old man standing off to the side. Falcon walks over. It is old man Cap.
Hmm.
And basically, what he did was, instead of putting away the stones and coming back, he found Peggy Carter and lived his life the way he wanted it to.
Hmm.
Which, once again, messes up the timeline
Yep.
and sets up
This is
sets up
definitely not
Marvel to
something they want.
do whatever they want to do from now on because because Captain America messed up the timeline, because the timeline's already been messed up. Now they could do whatever they want to do. Any storyline they want to do, they could just boom. It happened because they messed up the
Mhm.
timeline.
And now we got a Captain Falcon.
Yeah, we have the
What if?
Captain Falcon, which is weird because now because they have the show. Now when they do the show, is he gonna be Captain America in the show? Like, is it gonna be
Or
Falcon,
is
Captain
he just
America,
gonna be?
Falcon, and
Or is he
Bucky?
just gonna be Falcon with a shield?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a little bit weird, but we're gonna have to wait and see on that one.
Or it could even be a whole different time, just like we're talking about, where
Yeah,
it could just
because it's
completely
supposed to be
not have to do with it.
it's supposed to be like a buddy cop show with Bucky and Falcon. But I'm wondering if he's gonna carry the shield with him now. Who
Yeah.
knows?
So we'll have to see. There's a lot of things. Like I said, it answers a lot of questions, but also raises a couple.
Hmm.
Um, but it's to where you don't want to know because they're probably gonna get to it eventually. And you shouldn't ask because if this is a whole different timeline thing,
Yeah, which
it's
I
just it moved it to the point where you don't need to ask questions anymore because it's already gone. It's already
yeah,
done.
and I feel like I feel like it's smart writing. It's even though people picnic people nitpicked it as a plot hole. I feel like they did it on purpose to leave them space and room to do whatever they want in the future. And so, with that said, let's bring on the speculation area. Let's bring on speculation time, and then we could end this review. Um,
Hmm.
they are gonna now do Shang-Chi. That is projected for the future. First Asian superhero, and they're also doing the Black Widow movie, and then all the part twos. Oh, first they're gonna the first movie coming out is Spider-Man: Homecoming. That's supposed to be the end of Phase 3 supposedly, and I don't know how. Because I feel like Endgame is the perfect ending. They should have ended with that, but supposedly Homecoming is supposed to be the ending. We'll see how that goes because I'm kind of interested now on
I
how it's
Yeah,
the end. You
I
know?
am so interested to see because considering this is going to be the ending, I want to see him actually have the respect for what Iron Man actually did for him.
Yeah. And I
Because you
was,
never got to.
but the thing was like
Yeah.
I was so sure that Homecoming was after they came back, but someone had
Mhm.
told me they heard that it was pre him going to space. That now I'm a bit confused, and I'm not for sure now that it's after they came back from the snap.
Yeah, because like even so, I still had some questions. Like, uh, at the end of it, you saw Peter Parker go back to school and see his friend and give him a hug. Does everybody know that like everybody just blacked out and came back and everything was fine,
I
or
think so. I think okay. I think what happens is a lot of people were snapped out, but the people that are left. So when the people got snapped back in, you know for a fact that the people that were still there are gonna tell those people like, "Yo, you were gone for 5 years." You know.
Mhm.
So I'm pretty sure they figured it out and know somehow. And not just that, the final battle was so huge and big, and they did so much destruction that it had to have been big news, and everyone knows what happens and everything like that. Like it probably went around, and not just that. The
because I
news,
was just
the news
confused
probably
at like,
reported it like, all these people were gone for 5 years, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they're back.
mhm. Which is why I was like so surprised that like everybody went back to their normal lives right after this, because like I would have just been like, are we not gonna talk about this? Because like
Well,
everybody went back to school.
I'm pretty sure you're gonna talk about it, but you gotta need to normalize yourself after something crazy like that happened. You kind of want something normal.
That's gonna be weird for people who like started dating and then all of a sudden their wives and husbands are back.
True that you don't ever think about that, but but
And
yeah.
then like
So
those who
um,
like, because the sad realization of it is some people probably committed suicide after realizing the people that they lost are gone.
well, yeah, and also like there was how Hawkeye was killing everyone that was bad because so you had people who were dead because of other reasons too, and then the people who got snapped away came back to nothing. You don't know, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Once again, which is why I was thinking like if the homecoming is before, it's not gonna have you ask all those questions. But if it does, then there's gonna be a lot of things that like they gotta answer.
Well, I mean, we'll
So
see because it's also a different movie, so I don't know.
mhm.
But speculations. It this the For me is the timeline mess up, the timeline switch and bait and everything like that. It's gonna be a way for them to bring in all the new movies. We're also gonna have announcements because San Diego Comic Con is coming up in a couple months. So I'm waiting on the announcements. It's gonna be hype, and they better announce some stuff because I mean, are they really gonna make us wait a whole year until we get announcements of all the stuff they're gonna be doing? Everyone wants to hear mutants. Like we're waiting on mutants. Like it's gonna happen. I hope so, and I hope they planned it. I hope they plan a end credit scene for Spider-Man that brings in something new,
Seriously,
like a
yeah. And
big
also,
new villain or something like that.
because we with this new Spider-Man, we are missing a couple of the old, like good evil people.
Like
We
who?
don't have the Green Goblin. Have
Well, I mean,
so
here's the thing though. They like Sony messed up that villain so much that you were gonna have to wait for that. And here's the thing though, I don't mind it because they overplayed him so much that I don't mind it. Like I'd be okay with them bringing him in later. I'm happy they're bringing in Mysterio because they've never even used Mysterio, and I feel like this is gonna be a good iteration, a new good villain. And they're also
because I'm
they're building the the that the villain crew for Spider-Man, ground up.
yeah, I'm that's why like even with like the video game that came out, they were able to bring back some of the villains that we never really got to see. But it's just I'm kind of sick of Sandman and like all those people.
Well, yeah,
So I'm just hoping.
that's why you're not getting them. That's why you're getting
Yeah, so
Mysterio.
I'm that's why I'm hoping that when they do, if they do have something at the end of Spider-Man, that it's gonna either be something to do with his friend or something with a brand new uh villain that we haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, I'm no, I'm like I'm hyped. I'm a little bit more hyped now because I was hyped because they have Mysterio as the new villain. Um and I'm more hyped because there's questions that I want answered from the ending of Endgame, and so like also because this is supposed to be, and they're reporting it as this is the last movie for Phase Three. They're gonna have to set up Phase Four somehow, so they're gonna reveal some. They're gonna reveal something big at the end of this movie. I'd be a little bit disappointed if they didn't. And not just that too, it's gonna be coming out around Comic Con time, so there's gonna be more announcements on that. I'm also hyped for Shang-Chi, first Asian superhero to come out of the MCU. Um, I don't know how they're gonna introduce that with all of the stuff that's been revelized from Endgame. Um, and then I'm a little disappointed that the Black Widow movie is gonna be a prequel, but I'm still gonna
Yeah.
watch it.
You know, am I the only one that was expecting out of nowhere Deadpool to just pop up in the fight?
No, I already knew that they weren't gonna do
I
that.
know, but I was just gonna be like, even if he wasn't in the fight, I'd be like, I'm here too. You know?
I mean,
But yeah,
he could be somewhere in the timeline because you never know.
yeah, true.
But
But
so
yeah,
those are
so
like my speculations and my thoughts on the future and stuff like that. Do you have anything to add on to that, or?
dude, to be completely honest, I'm taking this as kind of like the last of the last, except for the Spider-Man movie. So whatever comes next is honestly we can't pinpoint it. It could go anywhere, and I'm just excited to see where this is gonna go.
Yeah, no, that I'm kind of in that boat too. Like, because beforehand we kind of knew where we were going because if they had already announced everything and we knew like, oh, this is gonna lead to this, and like it was easier to predict. But now that they did this, is now that they ended it and everything like that, and they didn't even give us an end credit scene or anything like that, I'm I'm left with a blank slate. Like
Yeah,
it's
we
anything can happen. They
it
can do anything they want.
they've turned all of their old fans into new fans again
Yep.
because nobody really understands what's gonna happen.
Yep. No one knows what's next on the book. And there's such and the thing is there's just so many possibilities because of the whole Fox merger. I'm so waiting for an announcement on some mutant stuff, some X-Men stuff. I'm not looking forward
I
to Dark Phoenix. Things like trash.
no,
Um, but man, I'm hyped for the
I
future.
I'm kind of hoping that they open up the world to being okay with like more outer space things after what happened.
Oh
So
no, they're
I
going to.
have
Thor is part of
yeah,
the
so
Guardians, dude.
yeah, so I am hoping that they open themselves up. So I'm thinking, you know, maybe just a speculation, but they might go into uh even giving Captain Marvel another movie again because there is, if you guys don't know, another Captain Marvel after her,
Yeah.
which is
No, they're going to. Captain Marvel is gonna have a part two. Doctor Strange is gonna have a part two. Guardians is gonna be on part three, and not just that, but James Gunn is back for Guardians 3, so I'm hyped on that. And not just that, he gets Thor to work with now, and not just that, but if you've seen Guardians 2, they teased what's his name, fucking Adam something, Adam shoot, I forget his name. But he's supposed to be the most powerful being in
wait,
space, the most
can you
perfect
hear me
power.
now?
Yeah, yeah.
Adam Warlock.
Adam, is it Adam Warlock?
Yeah,
The most powerful
the all
being.
yeah the most powerful being, and then he like he's a cosmic god essentially.
Yeah. So yeah, they tease Adam Warlock at the end of Guardians 2. So I'm hoping they do that,
Mhm.
and not just that
I
too,
mean,
but they're also doing the Eternals movie, which is also
yeah,
on the dockets for next year. I want to say, and that's outer space also. That's a whole space like opera.
I'm hoping they kind of like normalize it, kind of like, you know, I want to see a little more of maybe Marvel Corp, you know, maybe give Captain Marvel her own thing.
Well, here's the other thing too. They introduced the Nova Corps, but never introduced Nova. So I hope they do that soon.
Yeah. People were speculating that it was the other person, but that one guy. But I don't think so.
No,
The
it's
one
not.
guy
It's
from
not.
the brothers.
I
Yeah.
think there was a show or something that disproved that that was that person. Like they proved that it wasn't him. But who knows? I forget.
They even said it was supposed to be that guy from Firefly.
Oh no, they campaigned for that. They wanted
Oh
that.
yeah.
They wanted that guy. He wanted that role, but I don't think that ever happened.
So yeah, it's just a huge speculation. Anything can happen. This is kind of the ending of our knowledge now because we know so much about the Marvel universe and comic books in general. This is
Hmm.
kind of out of our realm now
Yep.
because there's so much to happen.
And with that said, we went a long time on this. I don't know how long this is gonna be, but we're gonna find out while I edit it. And
140, homie.
with that
140.
said, we are in conclusion. Let me just say that I love this movie. 10 out of 10 for me. What was it, like 8.5 for you, or eight?
Yep, eight
Eight
and a half.
8.5 out of 10 from Alex. If you haven't seen it, go see it for yourself. Let us know what you think. All of our social media and stuff down below. Hit that like, hit that subscribe for more, hit that bell icon, and
Ooh, and watch
yes,
out for our next Game of Thrones review.
yes, Game of Thrones review also coming out at latest Tuesday. So, with that said, we love you guys, and we will see you guys on the next episode. Peace.
Goodbye.